Welcome back everyone, and now let's continue our discussion on Asterisk. In this video I'm going to show you how to configure some basic phone features, how to dial by name instead of number, which is known as SIP alias, and how to configure and use the call transfer and call forwarding, and how to use do not disturb and info services. Then we will follow that by enabling and configuring users voicemail, and I'm going to show you how to access this voicemail using your web page or using your phone. Then we will end this video by voicemail blasting group configuration. So now let's connect to our Asterisk server and FreeBX administration. Here you can see it's telling you that you can dial anyone or any person using by name or number, and to dial someone by name, this feature in Asterisk, it's known as SIP alias. So choose the extension that you want to enable this feature for. I'm going to choose extension 1002. Here you can see SIP alias. It's telling you a brief about this feature. Usually you will the SIP alias will be exactly the same as your display name. It's not recommended to have spaces between each word in the SIP alias, but once you hit submit, these spaces should be removed by default, like this. Apply your configuration. And now let's dial this extension 1002. That's my soft phone here, using or by name instead of number. So best, and here you can see accept if you want. Let's hang up, and that's how to dial someone by name instead of number, which is known as SIP alias. And now let's configure call transfer. You can configure two types of call transfer: blind call transfer or attended call transfer. Go to admin feature codes, and here you can see the feature codes that you should use to do a blind transfer or attended transfer. So to use any feature in Asterisk, you should dial or use its feature codes. So it's all about feature codes here, and you can see the default feature codes for the default modules default modules, which means more modules you install here from the module admin, the more feature codes will be will appear here for this installed modules. So let's show you how to use a blind transfer. I'm going to dial this extension from this soft phone, and I'm going to transfer the call to my to extension 1003, and that's my soft phone on my Ubuntu virtual machine. So answer. Here you can see the call already transferred to this extension. Answer the call if you want. Let's hang up. Now you can also configure attended transfer, but just to be honest, attended transfer is not working on Asterisk by default. It has a bug. You can see, you can read this article, and still it has a bug. In Asterisk it's working like this: when A calls B and B try to call C with attended transfer code, which is not asterisk. It's the attended transfer feature code, the asterisk 2, and now A will hear music on hold, and C will answer to B, and what is asterisk going to do? It will hang up C, and instead of hanging up U, which means it will hang up the attended transfer destination instead of hanging up your extension when you dial the disconnect feature code. It's hard to understand this if you didn't see this in action. So let's show you this issue in action. I'm going to dial this extension 1001, and I will transfer this. I'm going to configure attended transfer to transfer the established call to extension 1003 on my Ubuntu virtual machine. Answer the call. Disconnect using this feature code. See that? Let's hang up. So instead of disconnecting our extension, it's gonna disconnect the attended transfer destination. So you can fix this if you follow this link here. You can batch your Asterisk server to fix such issue. So, but keep in mind that attended transfer is not working in Asterisk by default. You should it has a bug, and you should fix this using this patch. So do not disturb. To use do not disturb on your Asterisk server, you need to install the required module and just go to admin, module admin, and here is the modules that you can use on Asterisk. Basic modules, the modules will be installed by default, and extended modules supported by Asterisk. Asterisk will act as a publisher for these extended modules. Unsupported modules would work with Asterisk, but it's not published by FreeBBX. Commercial modules, as the name implies, it needs a license to work. So let's check online for all these types of modules. It's gonna connect to these repositories and look for all these modules. Here you can see the available modules, and let's look for do not disturb. And you can see here enabled and up to date. I already installed this this module, and the VM blasting module already installed. So once you install these modules, the VM blasting will be added here, and the do not disturb will add its feature codes here. So that means that more and more modules you add here, more and more feature codes will appear in this list. So let's activate do not disturb for this extension by dialing this feature code. So when you dial this extension, it shouldn't ring since do not disturb is activated. And if this extension has voicemail enabled, it should redirect the caller directly to the voicemail. But we don't have voicemail enabled for this extension yet. So user busy, and the extension didn't ring. So let's enable voicemail for this extension and see what's gonna happen. It should redirect this the caller to the voicemail, and of course this extension will not ring since do not disturb is activated. And that's how to enable voicemail for any user or any extension. Go to voicemail. Here you can see voicemail status disabled, change to enabled, and you should secure your voicemail access by password. Usually I used to use the same as my extension number. I'm configuring voicemail for extension 1001, and I'm going to use this extension as my voicemail password. I'm going to talk about these settings later, so let's apply your configuration. And now that's how to access your voicemail. You can access your voicemail using the web, just voicemail and recordings, or you can access your voicemail from or using your phone. First, the login name will be your extension, and the password will be the voicemail password. You have configured this password here, so, and you can choose the language if you want. Submit. Here we have old voicemail messages. Let's delete this. And you can see call monitor. It's going to tell you about the activity information and about the activity of your calls, the date and the time and the caller ID and the priority and the origin mailbox, the duration of each call. Call monitor, sorry about that. The date followed by the time, and the caller ID name followed by the caller ID information, the source, that's your extension, and the destination number, and the duration of each call. The voicemail, we don't have any voicemail yet. The feature codes that this user can use and can dial to use the phone features. And follow me, a feature that is not enabled yet. Phone features, here you can enable or disable call waiting. Do not disturb. You can enable or disable do not disturb using feature codes, or using the voicemail web access page. Call screening, we will talk about this feature later. Ringer timer, how long you want this phone to ring when you receive an incoming call. Call forward ringer, how long you want this phone or this extension ring before when receiving an incoming call, before forwarding this incoming call to the configured destinations here, if this phone unavailable or busy, or when you enable unconditional forwarding. And settings here, you can choose the language if you want. Keep in mind that other languages like Greek, it's not fully translated, so English is the only language that 100% translated. The voicemail password, you can change this voicemail password if you want. Notifications, you can here type any email address to receive notifications when you receive a new voicemail, and you can attach a voicemail copy to this email, and you can even delete the received voicemail on your Asterisk voicemail server if you want. And here you can configure another email address to receive a short notification when you receive a new voicemail. And most of the time, or usually, keep call me number as your extension. The audio format and these settings, I'm going to talk about these settings in a moment. And log out if you want to log out. So now we have back to phone features. We have do not disturb activated, and now we have voicemail activated for this extension. So any incoming call to this extension 1001 shouldn't ring this phone, and the caller should be forwarded directly to this voicemail. Let's redial again and see that in action.
The person at extension 1001 is on the phone. Please leave your message after the tone. When done, hang up or press the pound key.
That's my first voicemail to extension 1001.
Thank you.
And now when we go to voicemail, we should receive the new voicemail message. And great, you can see the date followed by the time and the caller ID name. followed by the caller ID number or extension. The priority of this voicemail, I believe the default priority for voicemail messages is 3 by default, I believe. The origin voicemail, it will be your extension. The duration of this voicemail, 4 seconds. Play if you can play this voicemail message in your browser browser if you have the required plugins installed. You can download this voicemail if you want to your PC and see that extension wave, the wave extension. You can change this extension from the settings and choose the default extension. You can change to GSM if you want, and you can even play this this voicemail at your extension 1001. So see, it didn't ring our phone, it didn't ring our extension 1001 since we have do not disturb activated. So let's disable do not disturb or deactivate do not disturb and show you how to use this feature. Go to settings and disable do not disturb. Disable do not disturb and voicemail, and here you can play your voicemail at your extension like this. It's gonna dial your extension, see that caller ID name voicemail, caller ID extension, your extension answer. Okay, let's hang up. So a really nice feature. And okay, let's show you how to use info services. Very simple features you can use. Go to feature codes and info services. It's going to tell you information about your last call, and you can perform echo test and or get information about your extension, and you can use the speaking clock. So let's use this in order. Call trace to get information about your last call. Okay, but when you receive an incoming call from extension that you know you can, it's gonna ask you if you want to redial this extension, and you can redial this extension if you want echo test. Let's dial.
You are about to enter an echo test. In this mode, everything you say will be repeated back to you just as soon as it is received. The purpose of this test is to give you an audible sense of the latency between you and the machine that is running the echo test application. You may end the test by hanging up or pressing the pound key.
That's my first echo test.
The echo test has been completed.
To get information about your extension number,
Your extension number is 1001.
or speaking clock.
At the sound of the tone, the time will be exactly 10:28 and 58 seconds a.m.
Okay, look, I know it's very simple, but I want to, my goal here is to give you the sense on how to use this feature codes to use your phone features. So let's call forwarding. You can configure call forwarding here, setting, or okay, phone features. You can configure an unconditional call forwarding, which means when you receive an incoming call, you can forward this the caller to this destination, or you can configure call forwarding only when you are unavailable or only when you are busy. Okay, let's configure unconditional call forwarding, enable, and here you can type your extension or the extension you want the incoming call to forward to be forwarded to. Let's update. Here, any incoming call to extension 1001 will be unconditionally forwarded to extension 1003. So let's dial extension 1001, and this call should be forwarded to 1003 extension on our soft phone on Ubuntu virtual machine. So great, now it's working. Let's hang up. You can also configure you can configure call forwarding only when you are unavailable or only when you are busy. Let's disable call forwarding. And now let's show you how to access your voicemail using your phone. Very simple. Go to feature codes, and here to dial your voicemail, just dial this feature code. The password.
You have 2 new messages. Press 1 for new messages. Press 2 to change folders. Press 3 for advanced options. Press 0 for mailbox options. Press star for help or pound to exit.
Look, I want to delete this message, and here only the 4-second message. And let's redial again.
Password. You have 1 new message. Press 1 for new messages. Press 2 to change folders. Press 3 for advanced options. Press 0 for mailbox options. Press star for help or pound to exit. First message. Press 3 for advanced options.
Now it's telling you about the voice mail message, but you still don't know who sent this message and when. So to enable these features, go to settings and say caller ID to know and to tell you about the sender of this message and when you received this message, the date and the time. So update and back to your voicemail. So hold. So before telling you about your voicemail, it's gonna tell you about the date and the time and the sender of this voicemail. So let's redial again and see the difference.
Password. You have 1 old message. Press 1 for old messages. Press first message received at 10:24 a.m. Message from phone number 1002. Press 3 for
And now you see that it's telling you about the date and time and the sender of this message. Now you can choose to save this voicemail to another folder like this. You can move this voicemail around maybe forward, move to, if you want to move this message to another folder. And now let's show you how to access other people voicemail. But before doing this, I want to show you the asterisk voicemail menu structure. I recommend you to go through this menu structure to understand how to handle your voicemail. So very simple. And now let's to access other people voicemail. If you want to access other people voicemail, you will not dial this feature code. Instead, you will dial the the voicemail server itself. You will dial this feature code, and it's gonna ask you about the username and the password of this voicemail. And after doing this, you will get your standard asterisk voicemail menu structure. So let's enable voicemail for another extension and access this voicemail. Okay, let's use extension 1002 and go to voicemail enabled, and the password will be 1002, the same as your extension. You can use any number you any digits or number you want, any password you want, but I like to use the voicemail to configure the voicemail password exactly the same as my extension, just to make it simple. And submit and apply. Now to access this voice mail from your phone, which is not your voicemail, you dial extension or you dial feature code. Dial
Comedian mail. Mailbox.
will be the user extension.
Password. You have one new message. Press 1 for new messages. Press 2 to change folders. Press 3 for advanced options. Press 0 for mailbox options. Press star for help or pound to exit.
Okay, let's hang up. And now how to access the others or the other people voicemail. And once you log on, you will go through this standard voicemail menu structure. So very simple. Now I like to talk about this configuration settings here. This optional destinations will give you the ability to control how you will handle any incoming call when your phone or your extension not reachable or busy, or didn't or the caller didn't receive any answer. By default, it will default to voicemail if enabled. You can even say when the caller receives no answer, you can forward this call to another extension, like extension maybe 1003, and you can configure caller ID prefix. So let's configure 123 as a caller ID prefix and submit, apply. So when extension 1001 receives any incoming call and the caller didn't receive any answer, it's going to forward this incoming call to extension 1003. That's my Ubuntu virtual machine soft phone, and will prefix this to the caller ID. So let's test this in action. Of course, I'm not going to answer the call, just to forward the call to extension 1003, and should prefix this to the caller ID information. See that? The caller ID prefix here. So let's back to default and delete this and submit. You can even configure how to handle incoming calls when you are not reachable or busy, if you want. So now let's talk about voicemail blasting. Voicemail blasting really simple features that give you the ability to send voicemail to a group of people, and each member of this group will receive your voicemail. So, And you can install to use this feature, you should install the voicemail blasting module here from module admins, and after the installation process you can go to applications, voicemail blasting, and you can see I have my default voicemail blasting group. It will be by default have the number 500, and you can add and join any users that have voicemail to this group. I'm going to join these two users that have voicemail enabled, and submit changes and apply my configuration. Now to leave a voicemail for this group of users, you should dial the group number like this. That's my first voicemail to my voicemail blasting group.
Thank you.
And now when we go to the voicemail of this the voicemail of extension 1001 or 1003, we should see the new voicemail message. Let's test this on this extension inbox, and let's play this to our phone. Great, now it's working. And also we should receive this voicemail message at extension 1002. Let's test this and log out and log into 1002, and I believe it's this voicemail message, I believe, yeah, from the caller ID name and the caller ID extension. So it's working perfect. And now that's it. I should now say goodbye and thank you, and see you in the next video. So goodbye.